So, Notorious B.I.G. said it best, mo money, mo problems. Our pastor didn't start with that. I'm just improvising. But he was not the first to have this perspective. The Bible talks a lot about money and the problems that we have with money. And there's a story in the Bible, and I hadn't really thought of all the ramifications of it or the nuances of it. And it's the story of the rich young ruler in Mark, where he comes to Jesus and he says, "What must I do to inherit eternal life?" And so he's rich, he's young, he's powerful, but he's desperate for what Jesus had. And so Jesus looks at him and says, "Well, you need to make sure that you're keeping all the commandments." And the guy's like, "Well, I'm doing all that." And then Jesus looks at him with love and told him, because he could see what this guy was holding on to, because Jesus knows us better than we know ourselves. And he says, "Well, just sell everything you have and give it away to the poor." And it says then that the man just walked away sad. Like, he wanted so badly to be part of what Jesus was doing, but he was so held by the things in his life that he just couldn't give it up. And so then our pastor says, "Well, I'm not saying that God's telling you to give everything up that you have, but could you?" Ooh. And that's the question. Like, that's the thing, because we go, "Oh, yeah, wait. I do like this, or I do like this." It's hard.
And that's what's so hard, too, is like I know that this is something that I have to daily work at, because these are things that God has blessed us with our life here on earth. But the thing is we can't hold it tight, in our grip. We have to hand it off to him, because he's the one that gave it to us.
Yeah, and so like how we handle money is important to God. He says where your treasure is, that's where your heart's going to be too. And so it's not all about what you make, but how you manage it. And so we gave a couple ways to master your money and not have it master you. And it's like distinguish between want and need.
Oh, yeah.
Because how many times like, I need this. And you're like, when you get down to it, most of those things they're a want. You know, like I had been looking for a house for years, but it was never a need, because I have a house. I'm happy. It was always a want. So I couldn't get too out of shape when I couldn't find one. But be a good steward of what God has given you. Like Betty's saying, like, your money's not yours. It's all God's. So use the blessings that he's given you to bless others and not just yourself. And finally, we must learn to be content. Being content is not having everything. It's being okay with having nothing but God. And I think that's a really huge point when you look at finances and our faith.